is that a lot of women that I talk to imagine, or the description is such that, you know, every man is potentially looking at you with the view of being, of kind of abusing you in some fashion. I mean, there's no idea that you can be looked at in any admiring way, which is one thing I know that you've talked about and written about over the years. But I don't think everyone's obsessed with the idea that men are hormonally driven to attack.
No, not the hormone. No, they believe it's coming from social indoctrination. Right. They believe that men are born to a culture that privileges maleness, which is not at all true for many recent decades, right? And that they learn and therefore we can retrain them. We can indoctrinate them to change. You say, I'm the only one really talking about the biological roots of it. And there's, to me, absolutely incontrovertible that there is a biological basis to the greater visual component in male sexuality. All right? There are brain differences here. Okay? Males really do see the visual. They were aroused visually much more than women are. And I believe for whatever reason, I'm able to see women in the way men see women, sort of like like Faye Dunaway in the eyes of Laura Mars or something. I feel like I'm like looking at things in the way men do. So the idea of the male gaze. Okay, first of all, Laura Mulvey is a very nice person. Okay, but I'm sorry, she knew absolutely nothing about the history of the arts, and therefore there's a sudden creation of this idea, which is like contaminated all of film criticism. Okay, oh my goodness, okay, so film criticism is practically not worth reading, any longer because it utterly lacks any kind of cultivated basis. But now, wait, we're going on a diversion here. Okay. As I go on about that, okay, I do believe that there is a vestigial hunting archetype still, okay, and that's the way to look at it. It seems to me the male gaze, and that women of today. Who have been raised in a highly sexualized environment with highly sexualized clothing, a product of my own generation's sexual revolution, do not understand that the way you dress and how much flesh you expose is a form of communication. It's a form of conveying sexual interest or readiness. Now you talk like this, and people will apparently lynch you, right now. Okay, I mean, I'm part of the pro-sex movement in feminism that was suppressed. Okay, during the 1970s, 1980s, we burst forth in the 1990s, thanks to Madonna, in her videos of the 1980s and early 90s and so on. All right, but the point is, I also understand, okay, that even while I support and defend and admire pornography and prostitution, I feel that today there's this idea that women can dress however they want. Okay, it's utterly meaningless, and I'm like exposing 90% of my flesh right now, but how dare you be aroused? How dare you? Look away. How dare you? Do not make a remark, okay? As I go with my, Louboutin, like it's stiletto heels down the road like this, okay? What? Okay, you're looking at my bum. How dare you? Okay, and so on. Right? Absolute. There's a hypocrisy, okay, and a kind of self-delusion, okay, that's operating among many young women, including feminists, okay? Right? So I'm not saying don't dress like that. I'm saying yes, dress like that, but be prepared to defend yourself, okay? Because the street, I call my philosophy street smart Amazon feminism, okay? All right? The street belongs to you. Yes, you have every right, like as a drag queen would, okay, to dress as you want and to bring public attention to yourself. But stop lying to yourself that you're advertising, okay? You're advertising. And I've written before, if you advertise, be ready to sell. You know that will get you the accusation of victim blaming. Yes,
that's what will happen.
Go. Yes.
No, I know. I know.
Yeah.
I know that you know that I know. But anyway, so in the recent case of Ched Evans, the footballer, and the rape case, in the midst of trying to have conversations, he in a court of appeal, he got found not guilty, and the young woman involved, who'd obviously, it was a horrible experience, but she couldn't remember any of the incidents and was drunk and so on. But anyway, in the course of the discussion, any attempt at even saying, well, he spent 2.5 years in jail, so he's now innocent, so, any attempt at saying maybe getting, completely off your head drunk might be sort of slightly problematic for a young woman. Yeah. Immediately, you're a rape apologist, victim blaming, written out of the picture. And that's if you're a woman who's associated with fighting for equality. So if you're a bloke, you can't comment at all, can you?
Right.
But I mean, do you get that a lot? And
yes,
what you've just said
absolutely.
is victim blaming.
Absolutely. The most controversial piece I ever wrote was my date rape op-ed, okay, for New York Newsday in January of 1991, and I was persecuted for that for years and years and years, and I've walked off talk shows live, and I walked off the Queen Elizabeth Hall stage, to avoid fisticuffs with a moderator who will not be blamed. Let's not name
a
her.
nameless.
Yeah, she was like one of the Stalinist feminists who infest London. Okay, all right. And I absolutely feel, okay, that if women expect to be treated seriously in modern society, if they expect to achieve, okay, they must accept full responsibility for their part in every encounter, potentially romantic or sexual encounter with a man. Okay, we're not talking here. I mean, I don't know this case. Okay, I keep hearing snatches of it. Okay, I don't know this case, but in my view, okay, we're not talking about a woman being snatched off a street who is going about her business as an innocent, and of course there would be a case of rape, and kidnapping, abduction, which one was condemned. Okay, but the moment you have private individuals who come together with mutual sexual interest, okay, in a context that can lead to sex, okay, I believe the women must accept full responsibility for their behavior and for what they are conveying in it. Okay, and it's mixing up of. I mean, that essay that I wrote on date rape begins by saying, okay, rape is an outrage that cannot be tolerated in civilized society. I begin with that premise and then go on from there to say that what's called date rape, okay, is to me a distortion of proper feminism, okay, these are the freedoms that my generation won, the freedom for women to go out without a chaperone or a duenna, okay, and being simply a child as defined by society, okay. So we're in a period now where there's a tremendous mix-up. I absolutely reject the idea that young women on dates or any woman on a date, okay, should be put into the same category, okay, as an authentic victim of rape who should reserve, should be reserved, our true outrage should be reserved for.